Greetings, my sisters and brothers. I want to read an excerpt from a book called On Tyranny, 20 Lessons from the 20th Century by Timothy Snyder. And out of this book, I wanted to help us to be clear about the political landscape that we're currently in and what's at stake in this political landscape. My brothers and sisters, this landscape requires us to be involved, to have our hands at the plow and to work to develop community, to develop the communities that we desire to see in this nation. My brothers and sisters, it is not time to be sitting back, being lazy, not understanding who's in office, who's running, what the policy, what's the plan. We have to be engaged because the institutions that are ruling or the institutions that are here need a fresh infusion of our energy. I'm going to read you this. This is chapter 2, Defending Institutions. It is institutions that help us to preserve decency. They need our help as well. Do not speak of our institutions unless you make them yours by acting on their behalf. Institutions do not protect themselves. They fall one after the other unless each is defended from the beginning. So choose an institution you care about: a court, a newspaper, a law, a labor union, and take its side. We tend to assume that institutions will automatically maintain themselves against even the most direct attacks. This was the very mistake that some German Jews made about Hitler and the Nazis after they had formed a government. On February 2nd, 1933, for example, a leading newspaper for German Jews published an editorial expressing this mislaid trust. We do not subscribe to the view that Mr. Hitler and his friends, now finally in possession of the power they have so long desired, will implement the proposals circulating in the Nazi newspapers. They will not suddenly deprive German Jews of their constitutional rights, nor enclose them in ghettos, nor subject them to the jealous and murderous impulses of the mob. They cannot do this because a number of crucial factors hold powers in check. And they clearly do not want to go down that road. When one acts as a European power, the whole atmosphere towards ethical reflection upon one's better self and away from revisiting one's earlier oppositional power or posture. Such was the view of many reasonable people in 1933, just as it is the view of many reasonable people now. The mistake is to assume that rulers who came to power through institutions cannot change or destroy those very institutions, even when that is exactly what they have announced they will do. Revolutionaries sometimes do intend to destroy institutions all at once. This was the approach of the Russian Bolsheviks. Sometimes institutions are deprived of vitality and function, turn into a simulacrum of what they once were, so that they gird the new order rather than resisting it. This is what the Nazis called Geschlechterung. It took less than a year for the new Nazi order to consolidate. By the end of 1933, Germany had become a one-party state in which all major institutions had been humbled. That November, German authorities held parliamentary elections without opposition, and a referendum on an issue where the correct answer was known to confirm the new order. Some German Jews voted as the Nazi leaders wanted them to, in the hope that this gesture of loyalty would bind the new system to them. And that was a vain hope on tyranny. My sisters and brothers, we are in a critical time in our lives here in this settler colonial state of United States of America. We are in a critical time, and we cannot let our institutions die. We need to put new energy, new power in our institutions of resistance and of centering or reimagining an idea that brings humanity back to the forefront. We cannot allow these powers to dehumanize us. It's critical. It's critical. We cannot allow those apparatuses to come to power and destroy every system of uplift, support, checks, balances that we have had over the years. We cannot let that happen. We cannot. We are being lazy. We are being lackadaisical. We are being apathetic. We need to take responsibility for the world we want to create. We need to take responsibility for the world we want to create. And if we do not, our children and grandchildren will inherit a struggle that we've hadn't seen in over 100 years. My sisters and brothers, on tyranny, get a copy for yourself. Peace.